Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis for Thursday, June 15th. I was going to do this video last night, but because of all the news surrounding from the BitMain announcement, I did a different video breaking down that article. And then right after that, I was on the Mad Bitcoin's YouTube channel to talk about it some more. So I would definitely recommend this video here, user activated hard fork, which isn't really user activated. It's totally miner activated hard fork versus the user activated soft fork. Me, Thomas Hunt, and Jimmy discussed it. I'm gonna pause that. And also, I think I added this video to my list of user activated soft fork videos. If I didn't, well, I just added it now. And this list is in my description and of this video. So definitely check it out. It's right here. So if you go to this list, it's in no particular order, but this is kind of where I'm throwing like any video that I run into across the web that is useful in understanding what the hell is going on. I go ahead and I throw them into this list. In no particular order, right? So you can choose to watch them in the order of which they were published. I think you have the ability to like resort this list. I'm not sure. I'm just throwing them in there. So go ahead and check that out. It is in the description of this video. And also, really important, absolutely check out my video from yesterday explaining the BitMain article. I am under the assumption that everyone watching me today has already seen this video. It already has over 5,000 views from yesterday. And also, the last market analysis was very important. I gave everyone caution. I told everyone, look, perhaps it's time to take some profit. It's a lot harder to call a top than it is to call a bottom. Trust me, guys. Calling a top, especially a bubble top, is insanely difficult. I think I came as close as I humanly could in warning all my followers on Sunday's show that it's time to seriously consider a pullback in the Bitcoin price. And then it pulled back a little bit, and then the news broke, and it just tanked, okay? And those of you that are following me on Twitter should definitely realize how pissed I am at this entire situation. And I have people tweeting back at me, no, you have to be nice. Screw that, okay? The time for being nice has passed a long time ago, okay? When 30% of your net worth was just destroyed by, a single blog post that you can directly tie to that destruction. No, this isn't the time for being nice. This is the time for some defensive action, okay? Let's just put it that way. All right, so let's close that. Yeah, sorry about the noise in the background. I guess I can open my... Yeah, you know what? Hold on, let me cut the noise. I have all my windows open and my blinds are making a lot of noise. Give me a second, guys. I'll solve the problem. All right, that should be better. I didn't realize the wind would suddenly pick up. All right. I'm back. So, all right, I'm gonna close my YouTube only because I need all the memory I can get right now. Real quick on the logistics side, man, I thought I was gonna cancel my travels, and then I was just starting to get talked into going to Europe to speak at a couple of places later on next week, and then into early July. But then this hard fork news breaks, and now I don't know anymore. So I definitely did not go to Kazakhstan. I apologize. I couldn't speak at their conference. I'm still listed as a speaker in Odessa and Ukraine. And I don't know. I got to make up my mind this week. I'll reach out to them. Look, this is more important. And my miner isn't here yet. I need to set that up. My Trezor is on my desk. I haven't set that up. like still need to make videos about helping the user activated soft fork. There's still time for that. Still need to rewrite my article about the August 11th tone critical day that's coming based on my time analysis from 3 years ago. Anyway, there's just so much to get done. Obviously, my blog is like 3 months behind. I don't know. I don't know how people keep up with like people that are like more popular than me, people that are like busier than me. But I really don't. All right. And I am definitely going to Prague unless Bitcoin is under $100 and I am piss poor broke. I will be at Hackers Congress in October. I'm really looking forward to this event, waiting for my picture to go right there. Come on, guys. I'm promoting you like crazy here. Add my picture in there. So I will be in Prague for this event. All right, let's just jump onto the markets. I don't want to waste any more time. Here's the S&P 500. It is absolutely going higher. You get this scare every now and then. And then look, all I have to do is like copy this box. This is not how things top. All I got to do is go here. I got to clone. And here's the box, and you just stick it over here. It's, I mean, things don't top like this, right? It just doesn't happen. You get this box, and then I can take this text. Look, I copied it from back there. So I'm going to copy it again. I mean, this is how markets move. This is an educational channel, by the way. Like, I know like people are hitting me up as like private clients now. I copied it. Hold on a second, guys. Then I'm going to, I guess, bitch a little bit. Look, I know you all want to know, and you're all waiting for me to tell you when to buy and sell. That's not. First of all, it may feel like that's what I do, but that's not what I do. And when you like text me, and even if you've been a private client, if you text me and ask me, should I buy or should I sell? That is a very bad position to put me in, okay? This is not what this channel is about, okay? This channel is about educating you on how to understand the markets, okay? And how to understand the markets from a technical perspective. So you see what I'm doing with my copy and paste right here? That this should, and it keeps repeating, right? Because there's nothing that's happening in the S&P 500 right now that is symbolizing that we're anywhere near a market top. So I'm also going to take this arrow, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to take this arrow, I'm going to stick it over here somewhere, right? Like, I don't know when the market is going to go up. Put it in between the letters here. I don't know when the market is going to go up, but what I do know is that this cannot possibly be an S&P 500 market top because the market doesn't give you 2 weeks to exit. It gives you 1 day, okay? Just like this day right here in March. Hey, what a surprise! It's on a 9, right? We'll get to that 9 in Bitcoin land, okay? Yeah, my computer is a little bit slow, okay? See, you may not be able to see this 9. Right? Now, I understand that it didn't top on this 9, and it didn't top on this 13, but it doesn't have to top on a 9. But it's likely that it's very likely that it could, and it did, right? So the market topped right here. It did not give you a double top, and then it went down for like a month. Okay? That's a top. This could have been a more sustained downtrend, but it wasn't. Once we got back to this prior top, I immediately put this box and I put this arrow. Well, S&P 500 is going higher. I got a little scare on this 1 day where the Trump impeachment drums were ringing, but boom, back up when Trump wasn't actually impeached. All right, let's close the daily chart. The weekly chart of the S&P, same thing, right? That prior high that I talked about on the daily chart started forming this descending triangle, which falls down more often than it goes up, but once it went up, it was all she wrote. The moment we got back to the previous top, I drew this green arrow, boom, we're going higher. How high are we going? Well, I'm expecting at least 2,700 on the S&P 500, okay? Very bullish the stock market. All right, gold. So gold's been, I mean, I called gold very, very well right here for the bullish trade. And then I called gold pretty well right here for the bearish trade. After that, it kind of became problematic because it was correlated with the S&P 500, which is rare. And then it gave this green ascending triangle and perfectly met its target, creating the tone vase double top, which should have been broken to the upside. But now gold is moving backwards, and it once again is no longer correlated with the S&P 500, and it's inversely correlated with the S&P 500, which is what it normally does, okay? Now, here's the tricky situation. The daily chart has been conflicting with the weekly chart nonstop, and the weekly chart is more important than the daily chart. So like the bigger the time frame, the more important it is. And by the way, everything, like even if you're just a Bitcoin guy and you care about how Bitcoin moves, this is important, guys. It really, really is, because you have to understand, like if the only thing you've ever traded is crypto, you know nothing. You know nothing about the markets. You know nothing about trading, okay? So treat this more as an educational channel. Right, the double top is meant to be broken. However, your problem is that on the weekly chart, you keep running into this declining trend line that it just can't break. Okay, this trend line goes back all the way to the 2011 gold high. Okay, it's been in this trend line, and this Fibonacci like stopped it. Well, like this combination of Fibonacci and the trend line was a death sentence for gold on this rebound. Now, most people called gold a bottom once they saw this monster move up in 2015. Well, in 2016, most people called the 2015 bottom in gold. I never did. I always expected gold to go below 1,000. And I expected it to go below 1,000 in 2016, but it didn't. It created a higher low. But the higher low came on divergence. And I take this divergence seriously. So last week when we broke above the trend line, I had to start changing my mind on gold going bullish. But I always said, this is a no trade zone, no trade zone. I'm not touching gold until I see a double top at 1375, and then we're breaking it. Then I will call this a bottom, and I will probably be bullish. But I am still 50-50 on gold. I still think there is just as it's 50-50 whether the bottom is in or not. I'm not touching it, right? So your weekly chart is, we're back below the trend line. Your weekly chart is saying lower. Your daily chart is saying the double top is not going to hold. It's going higher. The weekly chart is more important. Now that the weekly chart is back below the trend line, it is sitting right at this Fibonacci. If gold goes lower, gold becomes more of a bearish trade than a bullish trade. The moment the weekly chart gets down to the 1200 area and God forbid below it, put a fork in it. We're going all the way back down to 1120, creating a double bottom. Now we're going lower to 1040, creating a double bottom, and then we're going lower, right? I mean, gold really needs to hold this area. It can't go much lower, okay, from a technical perspective. All right, I'm done with gold. Not putting a trade on it though. Okay, here's a channel on oil that I drew weeks ago, probably a month or two ago, okay? And it's staying in this channel, and it's now right at the bottom of this channel. So very likely oil will bounce a little bit. It's the summer. Oil tends to go up in the summer. People use more electricity. People use more energy. Oil is seasonal. It tends to rise in the summer. We hit 100 degrees a few days ago in New York. Much cooler today. But we're at the bottom of the channel. A bounce is reasonable, but I see no future in oil. I gave up on this inverse head and shoulders. I would be surprised if oil goes above 60, 70 bucks in my lifetime, unless the US dollar goes into some kind of a superinflation or hyperinflation. And I'm not expecting that either anytime soon. Okay, so I think oil is done. I think the moment oil even starts to go up, renewable energy starts to really take effect. People have been scared into the global warming stupidity, and they are making everything more efficient. Cars are becoming more efficient. Your homes are becoming more efficient. And oil is going to go the way of the dinosaurs, which gave us oil to begin with. All right. It's a long-term trend. I think oil's done. All right, euro. Again, you don't get this many chances to have a perfect bearish trade on the euro. I think there'll be some kind of a pop in the euro to kind of, I mean, I've been calling for a complete annihilation of the euro collapse and forever, and it didn't happen. So guys like me got burned on this, on Le Pen not getting elected and Macron getting elected, and what's her name is going to get reelected. Oh man, Merkel in Germany will get reelected probably, and the problems in the UK right now with them not being able to, you know, get the hell out of the eurozone. So, sorry, not the eurozone, European Union. Getting my European terminology confused. And I think there'll be one more pop to kind of screw with all the shorts, and then euro will completely implode. My beautiful trade to short the euro against the pound did work out. I had taken that trade off. Again, double top right here will probably get broken. Maybe make this double top. Maybe it'll go to parity, but then the pound will. The moment the UK gets out of the European Union, there may be a little bit of a panic, but in the long term, that is the greatest thing the United Kingdom can do for its people. And I think its currency will appreciate and do fairly well. All right, time to do Bitcoin. All right, hey, Rich, are you in here? Can you help me out with questions again? And then we'll do some live Q&A as well. All right. All right, let's, oh shoot, what do I want to do first? Okay, so let's talk about, where are my pictures? Nope, not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. Oh, come on. Nope, don't have it. Hold on, let me open another one. Let me open the first one I sent. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Okay, so those of you that saw Sunday's video, okay, this was the reason why I called a potential top, and this is the weekly chart. And remember, the weekly chart is always more important than the daily chart, and the daily chart is always more important than the hourly chart. Okay, I would go to yearly, monthly charts, but Bitcoin is too young for that. Okay, so if you go back to Sunday's video, all right, where's my mouse here? I can't even see it. If you go back to Sunday's video, I talked about it before this candle was even finished, okay? And I talked about this 9, all right? That was the candle. Now, this 9 was very, very important to me, just like this 9 was important, but I didn't talk about it back then, okay? I don't normally use this indicator on Bitcoin, though I probably should. This is an indicator that is very, very good. Very, very good, okay? I know trading desks where the only thing they use is this indicator. Professional Wall Street trading desks. Not some, you know, guy on E-Trade, right? We're talking professional managing millions and millions and millions of dollars of money. All they use is this indicator to buy and sell. All right. It's not a joke. All right. Bitcoin in 2013 topped the same exact way. It was a perfected 9. All right. A perfected 9 happened right here. And then it happened again right there. Okay. Happened on Sunday. And I mentioned it on Sunday. All right. Delete these things. Okay. So this was the tweet that I sent out saying that, all right, yeah, I can't spell, guys. I totally screwed something. I was typing a different word. It says ended. I was gonna say I started typing a different word. I thought I erased all the letters, and then I guess I didn't. Happens. I'm terrible at reading and writing. That's why I do video and don't really write much articles anymore. Anyway, so when it started to fall, I was still calling it a pullback. Okay. However, it quickly turned into, where is it? Into this. Okay. And this was the next. This was the next tweet that I sent out. And according to this indicator, right, if this week closes below, this red line, and this red line is approximately 1750. If this week closes below this line and opens the following week and makes an intra-week low, Bitcoin is in trouble. Bitcoin enters a potential bear market, and it can start one of these downtrend counts in red, 1, 2, 3, 4. But if it gets to 9, it'll signal a reversal. Okay. Now, the chances of this week falling all the way to 1750 and lower are still fairly small. Okay. Like, I know things crash way faster than they go up, but that's huge. Okay. I don't think that's going to happen. So if that doesn't happen, then next week, the scenario moves right here. Okay. That means next week, we would need to stay above this line. Okay. And then the week after, we would need to stay above this line. Okay. Technically speaking, by using this indicator, Bitcoin is still in a bull market. We are still in a bull market. Okay. I know we just fell $700, but according to this indicator, we are still in a bull market. What does this 9 mean? One of the things that it means a couple of things, right? But the most likely outcome right now is a 1 to 4 week pullback. And let's hope that each week it doesn't close giving us a red 1. Like, a red 1 would be bad. Like this was not good. Okay. But it sustained itself, right? This right here, right? This was a 2-week pullback, but you can see that the numbers are still green, and the numbers are still green, and therefore it never went into a bear market. Now here's the thing, though, right? This is just a single exchange, and a Bitcoin price can sway. This red 1, I have it as orange, but it's really red. Okay. So this red 1, right, is unfortunate, to say the least, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, this red 1 happened because the week closed lower than that, which doesn't look like it on this chart. Okay. Oh, interesting. Why is that red? I may have to check. I mean, I programmed this indicator myself, and I need to check it. Oh, I'm sorry. No, sorry. It closed lower than that. Yeah, that's obvious. Okay. Yeah, there's no way around it. My bad. It had to close lower than the close 4 days earlier. So that obviously closed lower than this line. Okay, so there's no pennies here. If this day would have been green, if this day would have been a strong day, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this would have been the perfect 913 sell signal. I'm sorry, this would have been 912. The next day would have been a 13, would have been 1 day off, okay? But it would have given you signs to sell with a 9. Now, of course it didn't, and we're going to go by the numbers. It still gave you a 13 sell, though, which is also relevant. But anyway, so I take this indicator seriously. It clearly worked out as an indicator. Oh, I just broke 500 live viewers, guys. This is definitely a record for me. Thank you for support. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for reaching out to me for our private sessions and private discussions about finance and trading and stuff like that, okay? But I reiterate, this is an educational channel. This is not a channel that tells you when to buy and when to sell. And if you do hire me for private consulting, I feel very uncomfortable answering the question, should I sell right now? Should I buy right now? Look, I didn't sell a dime at the high, even though I told everyone on camera to take some profit, all right? And you can see that on camera last video. Anyway, so we got to stay above the red line this week and above the orange line next week. And that keeps us in a bullish trend on the weekly chart, going up in green for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 count after a 9 count. All right. I think I spent way too much time on this. Let's close this. Yeah, I have to close them because otherwise I'm going to keep searching through this stuff. Don't save. Okay, next. The next time I tweeted this out, I believe was today. Nope, that's the daily chart. That's the hourly chart. Yeah, today, because of the BitMain stuff. And look, I broke down the BitMain article yesterday, and they clearly said they will ignore short-term economic incentives. Of course, they meant it after August 1st, but they clearly couldn't care less about the price of Bitcoin. Or, I mean, not that everyone should care about the price of Bitcoin, but here's why you should care about the price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin indicates confidence in Bitcoin. I understand that bubbles happen. I understand that bubbles happen, but a strong price indicates confidence, and there's nothing worse than your asset losing confidence. Okay, and what I saw over the last 48 hours is Bitcoin losing confidence because of what a BitMain article said, and no one in the industry stood up against it. No one. I wanted to see Bitfury say something. I wanted to see F2Pool say something. I wanted to see some of the other Slush said something. Thank you for that. BitSquare said something. Thank you for that. The exchanges have said shit. Other miners have said shit. And as long as they remain silent, the confidence in Bitcoin is going to erode. Now, eventually, the price of Bitcoin will fall low enough for people to say, okay, I'm comfortable in putting more money back in. Because guess what? User-activated soft fork and SegWit is going to happen. It's going to happen, okay? The more miners we have, the stronger it'll be, but it's happening, okay? Sooner or later, the price will reach a nice buy point. And I'll talk about where I think these buy points are and why, for educational purposes only, not as me telling you when to buy and when to sell, okay? I don't like doing that. That's not what I want to do, all right? But right now, as long as the industry stays silent, confidence is being eroded. And I'm going to say it like it is, like I always have, okay? Let me just quickly go back to the web. I'll get to that in a second too, okay? Look, and I'll talk about this in a minute also. Oh, wait, I should have a screenshot. Do I have a screenshot? Oh, I didn't open it. Oh, I didn't open it. All right, hold on. Let me do a screenshot because there's some comments on it. Okay, here we go, okay? Here, the core devs, the core developers have made it very clear what they think about SegWit 2x. They've made this very, very, very clear, okay? These are the core developers that I trust. If these guys quit, so would I, okay? They're the reason why Bitcoin has not been hacked. They're the reason why Bitcoin code has been stable. They have made their views very clear. The industry has other opinions, and that's fine. My opinion stays here. This is where my opinion remains. Okay, I don't know where to put this damn star. Okay, that's where my opinion is. Okay, my opinion is swayed by the smart people in the room. Okay, yes, some people hate the fact that I admit the fact that I trust these core developers. And I would love to see the entire list of 100 of them that have programmed on core, but it is what it is, and this is a good enough sample. This is 25% of the developers, and most of them are very, very critical. Okay, way critical than the other 75% is. Okay, the 80-20 rule, those of you that are fans of that. All right, so they made it very clear. So to me, support for SegWit2x is silly. I don't care for it, right? I'm also not going to support SegWit2x, and just because they're now going to use a library that's compatible to BIP148 and get SegWit in there, because guess what? That's what they were supposed to do from the beginning. Their freaking arrogance told them, oh, we can just program SegWit on our own. No, you freaking can't, okay? So anyway, so no, I'm not going to praise them for doing what they're supposed to be doing anyway, okay? And I'm with Eric Lombroso on, closed door agreements. Now, I want to see more miners on this list. I want to see more wallets on this list. I want to see more exchanges on this list, okay? BIP148 has been around for 3 months. There's no reason why you should still be evaluating it, okay? That's nonsense, okay? Make up your goddamn mind so that people know what the hell it is you're thinking, okay? BitPay had no problem making up their mind once they got the check from BitMain, right? So do the same thing. Make up your damn mind, okay? No, I'm not going to baby these people. They're CEOs of exchanges. They're big boys. They can handle it. Give us a goddamn answer, okay? Tell us what you want, okay? Look, the exchanges are okay with it. The exchanges also seem to be okay with SegWit2x, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine, okay? But this evaluating, now that it's been out for months, hey, you seem to be okay with SegWit2x. This thing came into existence like a month ago. It just came out in alpha. You seem to have no problem approving this thing that just came out of nowhere. You have no idea who's programming it. You have no idea what the hell is in it. You seem to be okay with that. Yet BIP148 that has been out there for months, oh, we're evaluating. That's complete bullshit. Okay, I don't understand why people put up with using your service when you're treating people like freaking children by saying evaluating. Okay, there's nothing left to evaluate. Either you agree with it or not. Anyway, this is what getting me pissed off. It's just no one can treat you like an adult. All right, I'm gonna. Oh no, actually, cancel this. I'm not gonna close. Oh, and in case you're wondering why SegWit2x is a bad idea, please go to my Twitter or pause this video, make it big screen, and read what Greg Maxwell wrote as to why he doesn't like SegWit, and his opinion is probably seconded by most of the other core developers, and he assumes so as well. So this is an excellent read that I recommend to everyone to understand why all of these core developers have written either no or LOL on this column, okay? It's explained right here in great English by Gregory Maxwell. I'm always amazed at programmers that also have good English and good writing skills. I mean, that's like a unicorn to me, because I'm good at analytics, but I was never a good programmer. That's why I don't do it. But my English has always been terrible. So I'm always amazed at people that have both analytical skills, coding skills, and like language skills. I'm usually very impressed. All right, let's move on to the charts. Let's get back to the charts of Bitcoin. All right. So the weekly chart is telling us that we are in a 1 to 4 week pullback if we're lucky, and then we continue to the upside. And if we're very lucky, we never make a red one. That would be ideal. It doesn't matter like how bad this gets. Well, it does matter how bad it gets, right? But like, as long as this week we stay above the red line, as long as next week we stay above 2,000, as long as the week after, we stay above 2170, close above 2170, and as long as the week after that we close above 2510, right, or whatever the close is on this candle, right? So as long as we keep making green numbers, we're in a bullish trend, and we can start making this 13 count on the bottom, and then see if we can get to a 13, which could be, if we're lucky, 3 to 4 months down the line. All right, and it'll continue going up. So the weekly chart is telling us that just that. Okay, we're in a 1 to 4 week pullback. This is still a pullback. This is totally reversible. In my opinion, if Bitfury and F2 Pool come out in support of BIP 148 user activated soft fork, it's over. We reverse and probably make new highs within a week, less, maybe within a few days. Okay, if a couple of the exchanges and the wallets join them, it's put a fork in it. BitMain can go off on their own. It will be a true BitMain coin. Okay, and don't send me and like people are tweeting these pictures of like BitMain's mining facilities in China using some kind of power sources. Like it's all irrelevant, guys. It's all irrelevant, right? If they're by themselves, they can't do anything. They can't. So there are definitely companies that could start announcing support for the user activated soft fork, and there will be no hard fork. All right. And the moment those announcements come, Bitcoin will reverse. And what Bitcoin will do, I'll talk about the daily chart first. And what Bitcoin can do is it can do, like, people call it different things. Like Martin Armstrong, who I do read his blog, not lately though, because I've been too busy, he refers to it as a slingshot. This is what he would call a slingshot. People panicked on the SEC's announcement over not allowing the Bitcoin ETF. And then this right here, SegWit versus BU panic, this was directly caused by BitMain, again, right, associating themselves with Bitcoin Unlimited, all right? I don't think that's when the news broke, but that's when the news got absorbed because of the SEC stuff. People weren't really paying attention, okay? And then someone on Twitter asked me today, Tone, how do you know that the crash in prices today is correlated to the BitMain news? And I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? Well, like the last time BitMain had big news, we got crushed right here. And now they announced again, and we just got crushed again, all right? So I did throw on this Fibonacci. I used this low. It's debatable what low you want to use. I used this low as a daily low to throw on Fibonacci. We're sitting just above the... Oh, where are my numbers? Why are my Fibonacci numbers displaying? That's weird. Oh, well, I don't know why they're not displaying. But we're sitting just above the 50% Fibonacci. We almost got to the lower end Fibonacci. And look, I still think that I don't think we bottomed yet. We might have bottomed intraday, but I don't think we bottomed yet on a daily close. And I'll get into that in a minute, okay? I'm not calling for a panic. Again, this is an educational video. Educational video, don't panic. I never sold any of my coins, okay? I'm just looking at the charts. So I'm cursing out many people in this industry for causing this and not speaking out to stop it, right? I really appreciate what the Federal Reserve does now. Like, all my hatred for the Federal Reserve has not completely went away, but I totally understand. I totally understand why the Federal Reserve does what it does, and it talks the market up. Okay, totally understand it, right? Because then companies would come out and talk the market down, and there's no one to counteract that, right? So I want to see companies come out. I don't want to see lip service though, right? Like, I don't want to see someone come out in bullshit for the user-activated soft fork to bounce the price up without actually supporting the user-activated soft fork. No. I don't want people to lie. I want people to come out in support of it because it will help the price. Okay, I'm as certain of that as anything. Okay, we went up on the fact that we were going to get through this, and I really thought that the user-activated soft fork momentum was greatly helping this. But then the BitMain statement panicked people, and in my opinion, the fact that no one stood up to BitMain is what perpetuated the fear and the panic. All right. And then people are calling me a fudding. Are you serious? I'm just calling it like it is by looking at the charts and providing my opinion of how markets move. All right, so here's the daily chart. So now I'm going to go back to Twitter. Oh, that's the GMAX stuff. Okay, no, that's the hourly chart. We'll get to that. Let's talk about the daily chart. So, nope, I tweeted this one first. Okay, so I think I tweeted a daily chart before that, right? So when I tweeted this daily chart, right, what did I mean when I tweeted this chart? What I meant was we just broke a very critical support point. The next support point is right here between the green and the purple, and we can bounce from there, right? But if we go lower, any support for Bitcoin until right there. Now, why do I see support there? Okay, I'm going to take this line, I'm going to take the height, and I'm going to draw it horizontally. Okay, that is my support. Very clear. You don't need to be a chartist. You don't need to be a professional trader. Very, very simple. We had a very clear daily close top in February, right before February, March. Was it March? No, it was February. In February. No, in March. Sorry, in March. In early March, we had a very clear top. Okay. Right there. In March, we had a very clear top. Okay. So, and then it went straight up. When things go straight up, they have a tendency to go all the way back down to the point where it finally broke out. Okay. Now, a little different over here because they were too close to each other. But I also have right here, you see this yellow line? Those of you, I'm almost at 600 viewers right now, so I know there are new people watching that may not be very familiar with my work. Okay, but back when I drew this line, this is where I said if we crash from 2600, this is where I expected the bounce, because this was also a clear top, though not a very, strong one. But this was a panic. This was just profit. This wasn't a panic for any particular reason. This was just, it just got too high too fast. And I wasn't worried about this crash. This crash came and went quick. This current crash actually has a reason. It has a reason. And that makes it so much different. 600 viewers, by the way. Thank you, guys. Thank you. This crash has a reason. And guess what? This has already been support. It's not going to be support again. This is the tone vase, no double bottoms, no double tops rule. Okay? If we get back here, I do not expect it to hold. I just don't. Okay? We need to bounce from a higher level. If we can't bounce from a higher level and we get back to this 1900, I don't see anything in this box that can sustain a technical price reversal. Now, there could be some good news that can bounce Bitcoin. But as far as straight up technicals, not caring about what asset you're looking at, I don't see anything in this box that can stop the panic of price falling. So you don't want to get into this box. You want to make sure you stay above this box, and you can't even come too close to this box. So you got to bounce from this blue circle, okay? This is what I tweeted out. Now let's close this. Don't save. Let's see my following tweet. Nope, that's the hourly. That's the hourly. We'll get to that. Boom, here it is. That is the same blue circle. That is I tweeted this out today. That is the same blue circle where we needed to bounce from in order to prevent a catastrophic fall down to, guess where? Right here. Because I'm sorry, guys, there's just nothing in that box to prevent it from a technical perspective. And that's why I don't see 1500 as support. I don't see 1700 as support. I just don't. Okay? And this ain't gonna hold it up a second time. We get back here, I'm gonna start getting nervous. Now, am I selling through it? No, because I'm still a believer in the user-activated soft fork. I'm still a believer in SegWit, and I'm still expecting this when this whole mess is blown over and BitMain isn't in charge of Bitcoin anymore like they think they are, okay? So that's what I'm still looking for. Now, I would sleep a lot better at night if we do this, but in order for us to do that, economic nodes and major industry players need to say what the hell is on their mind and stop evaluating BIP 148 that they've had 3 freaking months to evaluate, considering they seem to have made up their mind on code that isn't even freaking ready yet. Okay, so no, don't give me this bullshit. All right. Anyway, so this is what I tweeted earlier today, that this is our last chance to bounce above before 1200. Look, I could be wrong. There could be something here that bounces it, but I may be, man's land if that happens. All right. So that's kind of my view. Let's close this. Let's take a look at what we have right now on the daily chart. Yep, daily chart right here. Okay. So we went right into the zone. I tweeted it out at the very low, and boom, we bounced. Okay. Now the Fibonacci, so here's the only thing, right? Like, I think this Fibonacci is close, kind of above this yellow line. It's not really straight, is it? I think this Fibonacci is above the yellow line. It's kind of close to this purple line. Like, it's okay. Like, I consider it's kind of in between. This is also one exchange. If you use an index, if you use another exchange, it could look different. All right. So we could have bounced. We could have bounced. Okay, I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Okay, could have bounced. I give it a 60% chance that the low is in, but I don't know yet. But I'm also expecting industry players to speak up and end the fear panic. Okay. So here's the Fibonacci line at 1714 area. Let's call it 17 flat. So there is a small chance that 17 will reverse the price on the Fibonacci. But I don't know if it's appropriate for me to draw this Fibonacci from this starting level. Maybe it was more appropriate to draw it from this starting level. Maybe it was more appropriate to draw it from all the way, at the bottom in 2015, or 16, whenever it bottomed. I don't know, right? So I don't consider this to be a very obvious reversal point. Therefore, it's possible, but somewhat unlikely, but possible. So I give this line maybe a 50-50 chance, but the strongest support, like basically I would be buying Bitcoin at 1250. Let's split the middle here. 1250, 1300 is where I would be theoretically buying Bitcoin, or like harassing people that owe me money in the form of Bitcoin. Yo, time to pay up, because I'm an idiot. I didn't harass them back here, right? And yes, people still owe me money. All right. This is why I don't. This is why Bitcoin will never leave my cold storage for any kind of project these days. All right. Anyway, so that's the daily view. Let's take a look at the index, right? So this is the Brave New Coin Liquid Index. And I'm only going to zoom in for one reason. I'm going to zoom in to throw in that same numerical indicator. And I know this is 1 day behind because it updates at 8 p.m. and we're probably way lower right now. But it's okay. So let me just throw the numerical indicator on. I'm at 650 viewers, guys. This is unprecedented. My scripts, I mean, yeah, I think the math's pretty good, but I wish I had time or hire some, Berkeley interns. Okay, so the daily indicator has started a negative count. Okay, we hit a 9. We had a 913. The 913, the 913.9, the days that were a 9 and a 13 are on the same day. This is a huge bearish sign. Huge. Huge. That is as much of a sell signal as you get on this indicator. And it's not, doesn't always work. Nothing always works. But this is a huge bearish indicator. And then boom, we had 3 horrible days. Though the next day started off nice, but it didn't end that way. So we started the negative count, which then reversed. We've now started another negative count. And today is definitely another red. So if this red gets to a red 9, that could signal a buy point, okay? We also had a 9 on the daily. We made a slightly higher high. We're starting another 13 count. But anyway, yeah, we're starting another 13 count, but it already and this could go up. Okay, the 13 count is still in play on the bottom end of the things. So this isn't telling you much, but it's telling you that on the daily chart, this right here today was a sell signal, right? So this is known as a price flip. Okay, the moment you go from a green 9 to a red 1 is known as a price flip. So this right here is a price flip. What creates a short entry trade is a price flip followed by a lower open and lower low, which we did not have the day after, but we had the following day. Now remember, Bitcoin trades 24/7, so there's no such thing as a lower open, but there's obviously a lower low, okay? So I'm gonna call it a bearish open and a lower low. So yesterday, this indicator on the daily chart triggered a short position, okay, from a technical perspective. All right, this I'm going to close. Wow, I've been going on for an hour, guys. I know I'm sure I have questions, but let's just keep going. All right, here's the hourly chart, okay? So the hourly chart I've also tweeted out. Was this my first tweet? Yeah, this was my first tweet. This is when I woke up, guys. I mean, I would have tweeted earlier, but like I had just woken up. I had just realized the news. The news broke at 2 a.m. Yesterday. I woke up at around 8 a.m. At around 9 a.m. I found out what the news was. Like I didn't even know. I just thought the price was doing okay. I literally thought that okay, we finally broke above the 50-hour moving average. We're pulling back a little bit. We're still above the 50-hour moving average. This is not a big deal. But then all of a sudden, I start reading that article, and I'm like, holy shit, this is terrible news. I look at the price, and I see it breaking this yellow line. I immediately tweeted out. I forgot what the comment was, and I'm like, whoa, this is not good. And then I'm focused on this arrow. And I explained on my Twitter that this arrow means that once we close the hour below this yellow line, get ready to go to the next yellow line. And guess what happens? The moment we close below the next yellow line, we're going lower. We're going all the way to 2260 and probably lower, okay? Because this creates these double bottoms. So I tweeted this out. That tweet was followed by this tweet, okay? The moment I saw us closing below the next yellow line, I immediately tweeted this out, pointing to this arrow, and I also put an insert of the daily chart saying, boom, that's where we're most likely going, and then look for a bounce from there, okay? That's actually exactly what happened. So that was a tweet. That's a picture of the tweet itself, okay? Anyone can fact check. Very simple, okay? Where's my hourly chart? That's exactly what happened. We fell into between this green and purple line, and so far we bounced. Do I think that bounce is sustainable? No, and let me explain why. Okay, bounced, and then we go up, okay? Boom. And then I tweeted out one more time for, as this continued to happen, I then noticed that this descending triangle was forming. And those that have been watching me for a while, you know I love my triangles. It's one of my favorite technical signals. And this triangle indicated that there was a 64% likely chance that the price is going to fall, and a 36% likely chance that the price is going to go to the upside. And once it falls, it should fall at least 16% of this range, but I have a much more generous points. Within an hour of me, or within even like 20 minutes of me tweeting this out, I think this was the last hourly tweet I did, and you can see what happened. My okay, where am I here? None of my signals have changed. This was the triangle. That same hour, and like the following hour, my target was met. We would then went back up. We touched it. I didn't tweet out the back test, and then we then fell way below. So now, what is the most likely scenario? Okay, on the hourly chart. So here's how I see the hourly chart now. We bounced nicely off of a point that I thought we could bounce from. But guess what? Everything I was tweeting on the upside completely applies to the downside, okay? You now have very strong resistance right there, just above 2450 on Bitfinex, okay? This is strong resistance. If we get back into this resistance, the most likely outcome from that point is a fall, okay? So that's what I'm looking at. That resistance is going to be somewhat difficult to break, okay? Now, if we get back there, if we get back to 2450 on Bitfinex, I'm expecting prices to reverse back down unless the industry, gets their shit together, tells BitMain to go fork themselves and adopt SegWit, okay? Because I think SegWit adoption will put confidence back into Bitcoin, brings confidence back to the core developers, and the price of Bitcoin will adjust based on confidence, okay? So my most likely outcome right now, okay, not trading advice, my most likely outcome is for us to go back to 2450 and then start to go back down, okay? From that point, the best case scenario is for us to not fall below this area of 2200. Okay, hope you guys are listening. After that, reverse and go back to this line. Right? And then probably struggle a little more let's copy this. struggle a little more, and then eventually bust out. That is the best case scenario. Okay, this is very similar. Oh, I already closed that chart. Damn it. All right, hold on. Oh, tell me it didn't save anything. I don't want to zoom this out because I already zoomed it in. It's like one of those times I don't want my thing saved. Nope, it's saved. All right, let's have to zoom this out. So this is very similar to what I drew and published on TradingView, which unfortunately I haven't had any time to do. Right here when I said, all right, we go up and then we bounce around, we make a cup and handle, or we make a triangle, same thing here, right? So what I would be looking for is, as you can see, this is starting to form a bit of a triangle, an ascending triangle. This is the best case scenario. Here is the minor problem. I do expect, we don't have to go up. We can reverse and like the panic can set in, right? The panic may not be over yet. Okay. Here's the other problem, and this is a big problem. If the price of Bitcoin comes back to here, well, yeah. If it comes back here, if this red arrow doesn't turn it clearly higher somewhere in this area, if we come back to this low, that's a problem. That's a problem, right? And that's the kind of problem that can take Bitcoin from here all the way to here. That's how big that particular problem is. Okay. Now, how likely is that to happen? Look, I have no idea. Okay, I have no idea. But if we start closing around this red line, there's no way I will assume with 80% confidence that we're going lower, because I don't believe in double bottoms bouncing the price. Okay. So it's nice that we're going up. This is as high as I give it before some kind of pullback. Okay. So if this current panic has scared the shit out of you, you may want to consider taking a little bit of your profit right around this area of 2450, and then buy Bitcoin back at above 2500, right? When things have cleared. All right. Now, this is not a recommendation, and I am not doing this. I am going to hold through this. So if you guys are all panic selling, you're basically, eliminating my life savings, but that's okay. I think Bitcoin will survive long term. Now, watch out for the slingshot, as quote Martin Armstrong. And the slingshot is everyone gets bearish, there's nobody left to sell, and the price goes up faster than you can enter. So many people got burned right here, okay? I was calling this a turn. I called this buy perfectly. There were so many people calling for sub $800 Bitcoin, all the way to 500, 300, 400, whatever. And I send out tweets. I'm like, what happens if it never sees 800 again ever? When are you going to buy back? When? And this rally went on, and these people were still saying, no, don't believe it, don't believe it, don't believe it, don't believe it. And did these people finally get in at the top and just get burned? Okay, this is how the market screws with people. All right, so it's possible that there could be a scare, and these things end on a moment's notice. I really like this low, but I was never confident in this other low. Yes, there was a big wick right there, right? But I wasn't confident in it. This wick is way more, has way more confidence because it's coming from a stronger and lower position where there's more buyers. But if we get back down here, it's not, it's like a springboard. It's like a springboard that loses 50% of its sturdiness after every jump off the springboard, right? So this it's like my best analogy, right? Like you jump on the springboard and it pushes you up 10 feet. Then the next time you jump on the springboard, it can only push you up 5 feet. And the next time you jump on the springboard, it can only push you up 2 feet. What's happening? The springboard is weakening. And you jump on that springboard one more time, it breaks, and your ass goes to the ground, or into the pool, but not in the way you wanted it to, not in the way you wanted to go into the pool. Okay, so this was a very nice springboard from the perfect area that I called in my tweets. I think right there. Okay, but this springboard will be significantly weaker if it gets called upon the second time. Okay, so you don't want to see it go back there. I don't want to see it go back there, right? I would love to see this as a sustained rally. And the first step for it to be a sustained rally is for these freaking people to tell us what the hell they're thinking, because there's been more than enough time to evaluate BIP 148, all right? And we need way more companies on this list, especially F2 Pool. I mean, Slush should be on here, even though I believe they're leaning. I mean, they're letting their people decide, but it would be nice to get a full opinion from, Slush himself, and I believe it's Segwit supporting. Anyway, I'm almost at 700 viewers, guys. This is amazing. Please go back and watch the beginning of it. I am now over an hour into my chat. I don't know what else I have to say other than this is the insane article. I broke this article down sentence by sentence in yesterday's video. Please check that out. This is some more garbage that ViaBTC put out. Now, ViaBTC is the pool that showed up that was mining empty blocks, that was mining Bitcoin Unlimited, that some people are suspected of being fully financed by like Roger and Bitcoin.com. I don't know, but that's the rumor, that's the suspicion. No one liked them. They seem to put out a poll asking, do people want Segwit or big blocks? Like 85% of the people replied Segwit, no big blocks. And then they said, something for us to think about, but we don't care about you people. That was kind of the reply. So here's what they're planning on doing, right? So they want to sabotage Segwit at all costs. So they will gladly take your Bitcoin. They'll gladly take your Bitcoin. And right here, let me see here. ViaBTC users can trade your Bitcoin at a 1-to-1 ratio, BIP 148 and Bitcoin frozen assets, right? So basically, they'll take your Bitcoin and they will let you trade the user-activated soft fork side of the chain, the one that's the one that doesn't have the possibility of being reorganized, right? BTC Frozen has the possibility of being reorganized, but that's the chain they want to hard fork, right? Therefore, they will let you trade your Segwit coins for Ethereum and hold on to the frozen coins, basically giving the world a chance to sell their Segwit coins without giving them the option of selling the non-Segwit coins. Okay, this is their little trick to make it look like nobody wants Segwit coins and the price of Segwit coins is going down. Of course, this can backfire on them in two ways. One, if Ethereum implodes, and everyone is selling the Ethereum for the BIP 148 coins, making 148 coins very, very valuable. That's one way this stupid venture is going to backfire on them. The other way it's going to backfire on them, which they conveniently don't tell you, is that if Jihan and BitMain don't go with through their threat of hard forking Bitcoin, your BTC frozen coins will disappear. They will get absorbed by the BIP 148 coins, which you conveniently sold for Ethereum, thinking that your BTC frozen will still be there, but it won't, because BTC frozen is the legacy chain, and they will get fully wiped out, and then you realize that you have no coins on the VIA BTC exchange if you decided to sell your BIP 148 coins. Okay, so these are just two of the ways where this nonsense can backfire. But hey, if you want to trade on VIA BTC, good luck to you. All right, have fun. That's your problem. All right. Let me see if any of those economic nodes are listening to me, considering some of them have me blocked on Twitter. Nope, they're still evaluating. All right, keep evaluating. Keep going. Sure, have fun. BitSquare, shout out. Don't know what this is. Shout out, double shout out. All right. Anyway, I talked about this earlier. Please check this out. By the way, all of these links are in the description of my video. So go ahead and check it out. There's a playlist there of the videos I recommend. There are links there to set up a full node. There are links there to make the node BIP 148 compatible. I have now broken 700 live viewers. This is completely insane, guys. Thank you for the support. Thank you for your donations. And thank you to those that are hitting me up for consulting at 0.1 Bitcoin per hour. I just became a lot cheaper in US dollars, in US dollar terms. All right, I think it's time to get to your questions. I know there's a lot of questions. Richie Rich has not shown me any questions. So I'll have to go to the chat. So I guess he does have a job during the day. So I don't have a question filter. If you've thrown questions into this chat earlier in the show, I'm not going to be able to scroll all the way up. In fact, the top of this chat has disappeared long ago. Let me stop screen sharing. I'll turn my camera on. Oh, sure. I think I just turned my camera off. There it is, guys. User activated soft fork. I'm wearing the shirt. No, it is not the same shirt. I don't normally wear shirts for 3 to 4 days in a row. I have a few of these shirts. Thank you, Blockstream, for providing me these awesome shirts. It's the only perk I get to shill. And for Blockstream, my perk is really cool T-shirts. That's my standard payment from Blockstream to shield their ideas. It comes in the form of T-shirts. Okay. All right. Let's get to some of your questions. Please start the question with either my YouTube handle or the capital word question, something to identify, and I'll try to read them because I don't want to scroll through the chat. Okay, let's go. If BitMain is cheating with ASIC boost, why do we allow them at all? You said it's patented to protect the network. There's no one to enforce it, right? This is like the unregulated libertarian space. There's nobody here to enforce the patent, right? You want to run to the government to patent it? They repatented it in China. You want to go run to the Chinese government that people are suspect are working with them to enforce the patent? Not going to happen. All right, wait, next question before I lose it. Have you talked to any devs lately? No, I have not. I have not talked to any devs other than Jimmy Sung. I wish I had the time. I mean, we're all kind of doing the same thing. I have not talked to them. I'll get back to the ASIC boost in a minute. I get the Bitcoin dump. What about Ethereum? I don't care about Ethereum. I'm ignoring the question. I got bigger problems. Do you think ant bleed? Okay, nope. The chat's scrolling too fast. Let me let me do this. Do you think ant bleed cools be a weapon of BitMain against user? No, I don't think so. I think ant bleed has been eradicated from the situation. I think all of those miners had a way to patch it up, and I don't think it's I don't think ant bleed is any longer a weapon that a BitMain can use. Going back to the ASIC boost, you're saying, how can we allow it? Well, look, who's going to stop them, right? Like, no one wants to cut off the faucet, right? Let's do an example. Let's do a hypothetical example, right? I have always been critical of BitClub. BitClub is a pretty big mining pool. It's a cloud mining pool. People are dumb enough to give them money for them to buy the hardware on their behalf and mine it for them. I think this is completely ridiculous. But BitClub and their affiliate network, which is borderline MLM Ponzi scheme. I don't have time to do a crypto scam on it, guys. Sorry, I'll get to it one day if they don't implode by then, right? So they're a pretty damn big mining pool. They have tens of thousands of miners, my best guess, right? My best guess. 90% of these miners are from BitMain. BitMain is their supplier. If they, and this is my opinion, if they do not jump when Jihan and BitMain tells them to jump, BitMain may not sell them any more miners. If BitMain doesn't sell them any more miners, not only do the founders of BitClub no longer make any money, their company can completely implode, and they will become a Ponzi scheme to where they can potentially go to prison if they don't run away and disappear, right? So they cannot cut off their faucet of mining hardware by standing up to BitMain, because their jobs and potentially their freedom actually depends on it. This is what happened when you run an MLM style a Bitcoin cloud mining operation that so far has been legit because they haven't scammed anyone yet. But they, in my opinion, they are 110% beholden to BitMain to keep their operation running, right? This creates an illusion of Bitcoin mining decentralization, but it doesn't. Now, if you are an individual person that has bought his miner from BitMain, that's a different story. They can't like show up at your door and take their miner back, and ant bleed has been removed. So they can't turn off your miner. So you can then request to buy another miner from them, and they don't really have to know who you are. I'm sure you can buy these miners almost anonymously, just to need a shipping address, right? But if you are running an organization cloud mining, then you can't do that, right? You're beholden to your supplier. And if your supplier wants you to do something, you're going to do it unless you can replace that supplier. And at the moment, it's difficult. Now, the miner that I purchased that is supposedly in the mail is Avalon by Canon. And look at my description for a link. And the moment the miner arrives, I'll immediately take a picture. I'll tweet it out, showing everybody that it's real, okay? Okay, let's move on with the questions. Okay, so the August 14th date of my critical date is no longer August 14th. I have been corrected. Someone helped me by putting my math into a Python script, and it has been fact-checked by math because I kind of did the math with a pen and paper. So the date is actually August 11th and not August 14th. That was the date I was referring to in my 2014 article as August 11th, 2017 for the critical life cycle day of Bitcoin. I will write an article, I promise, within a week or two in order to explain what I think. The later the closer the article is to the date, the more I can kind of analyze of what that date can mean. But I'm still happy I got, you know, the month right. That I think that was like unbelievable. All right, next question. What to do now with the Bitcoin at exchanges before and after August 1st? Get it the hell off exchanges. Get your Bitcoin out of the exchange. Do not keep your Bitcoin on an exchange on August 1st. Maybe if the exchange tells you exactly what they're going to do, and unless the exchange tells you they are supporting BIP 148, 100%, I would not leave my Bitcoin there. God. And back it up on the other chain. Like the exchange's primary position needs to be BIP 148 and SegWit only. The exchange's backup position needs to be to make sure that they have the private key and they immediately duplicate everything on the legacy chain in case the legacy chain hard forks. But if the exchange is not supporting the user-activated soft fork, get your damn money off of that exchange. I mean, I've never had any of my Bitcoin on the exchange. God, it's like the most unsafest place you can keep your money, keep your Bitcoin. But hey, you know, traders got to trade, right? But I would definitely get my Bitcoin out of there. And don't forget, the earlier you take your Bitcoin off of the exchange, the less risk you take of the exchange being insolvent. You don't know how solvent some of these exchanges are. So if you're waiting till like the end of July to pull your Bitcoin out, you may end up in a Mt. Gox situation. Like, you know how many people are lucky that they took their Bitcoin out like 1 week earlier than others because 1 week later, there was no Bitcoin to take out, okay? All right, next question. What do you think about, oh, damn, lost my place. Yeah, this chat is flying a mile a minute, guys. I'm doing my best here. Okay, here we go. Nope, here we go. What do you think about taking Bitcoins and investing in Ethereum? No, just no. Next, do you think BitMain is spreading FUD just to buy cheap Bitcoin? I don't know. I don't know. I can't speculate on that, right? I don't know. When would you recommend buying into Genesis ASIC with the crash? Never. Genesis? What do you mean, like Genesis mining? Another cloud mining? Never. Why do you think Brexit is good for the people of the UK? Because if Brexit doesn't happen, then people in Brussels are making high-end laws on your behalf. And I like for my country to make my own laws. I live in America. I would certainly prefer the US Congress and the US President to set the rules, especially the tax laws, and not the European Union setting the tax laws. In case you're curious, please look up the situation of Ireland, where the European Union told Ireland that they are not allowed to set their own tax policy and that they now have to raise taxes because Apple and some of the other US companies are operating and creating jobs in Ireland, and the European Union isn't happy about jobs in Ireland because it takes away jobs from the other countries. And since the European Union is a borderline communist mentality, they will set the all-size-fits-all laws that trickle down to all of their minions. And if the United Kingdom wants to remain in the European Union, they will be subject to the laws, the high-level laws of the European Union, and the most important of which is tax policy. All right, next. How does hard fork possibly affect Ethereum? Don't know, don't care. Next. Oh, I forgot to do Litecoin charts. Sorry, guys, no Litecoin charts today. Next video, guys. Next video. Litecoin is a hedge for Bitcoin crashing right now. It's a decent hedge, but it's a hedge in US dollar terms. I think Litecoin. I think people have already started diverting some of their Bitcoin into Litecoin, and even though Litecoin might like fall in price a little, I don't think it's I've already been proven. I said on previous videos that I expect Litecoin to be a lot more steady in dollar terms, but way more volatile in Bitcoin terms. So right now, if you want to eliminate Bitcoin volatility, a Litecoin is a decent place to be. It's actually the only decent place to be other than US dollars. So Litecoin is a good hedge in US dollar terms. But that also means once the top industry players tell BitMain to go fork themselves, Bitcoin can shoot up in price, crushing Litecoin in terms of the Bitcoin to Litecoin price ratio. But if you're going into Litecoin to hedge the price of Bitcoin in US dollars, that's a decent place for you to be. All right. I am not doing that. I'm just holding on to my Litecoin donations. All right. All right, let's move on. Tone, if I made like 10 Bitcoin posting on Bitcoin Talk since 2012 and I want to cash out, how do I explain to the tax man where the Bitcoin came from? Some goes for gains. Maybe this. Oh, look, it's up to you, right? You make a spreadsheet. You take your best guess. Also, if you cash out for US dollars, then it's an honor system, right? I mean, like they don't know that you got it. They don't know that you sold it. And then it's up to you and your ethical standards whether it's more ethical for you to report every penny to the government, or is it more ethical for you not to report anything to the government because they're probably because most of that tax revenue is gonna go bombing some country anyway, right? So tax reporting is directly proportional to your personal moral standards. And my rule on it is you pay the least amount of taxes that you can get away with without going to jail or getting your passport revoked, right? So that's kind of my rule. And, I can't really give any more advice than that. All right, next. When will they stop evaluating their decision? Yeah, that's what I've been screaming about. Okay, next question. Why has the bad Bitcoin news affected Ethereum all the same the past few days? If it's, guys, I don't care about Ethereum. I really, really don't. It's a scam. I was supposed to shoot. I was supposed to be done with all 3 parts of Crypto Scam on Ethereum, but I'm sorry, I've been like busy and distracted, and my guests don't show up. So I only have 1 episode of Crypto Scam Ethereum, but the other 2 are just as bad. Like there's just Ethereum is just a scam, and when it collapses, it's gonna take everything down with it. Oh, someone's asking what kind of whiskey is on my table. Shoot. All right, let's do this. Okay, so, trust me, the good stuff is long and gone. So I think someone's asking me about this, which is a Trinidadian bottle of rum. I don't know if it's good. I just thought the bottle looked cool. This is another bottle of Trinidadian rum that is decent. Wait, is it focusing? There you go. That is decent. There is a bottle of whiskey down here, but it's not mine. It's somebody else's that left it here. And since I'm not a fan of whiskey, it's going to be here for a while. Now, what I do have down here that is good is, and we will move on to Bitcoin in a second, is this bottle of 5-star, 8-year aged Haitian rum. And this I will save for a very special occasion. And just because my liquor cabinet happens to be full of rum, it actually does not mean I'm a rum drinker. it means that I have ran out of the other stuff. I'm actually a tequila drinker. Oh man, good thing I was wearing shorts. That doesn't always happen, by the way. So I got to be careful next time I decide to like slide around my apartment. I personally am a tequila drinker, and the last couple of times I've gone through Mexico, I brought back my dad really high-end tequila. The last time I bought a Hiradara Selection Suprema, which is like half price at the Mexican airport as it is in New York. Very good bottle. If Bitcoin is about $5,000, I'll go and buy Don Julio Real, which is another amazing bottle of tequila, which I've never actually tasted because it's always been out of my price range. Yeah, so I'm actually a tequila fan, but yeah. And wine, though my wine rack is behind my head and it's almost empty. You can see it there in the corner next to the TV that almost never gets turned on. Yeah, that one's getting empty. And there is also, I guess you can see the bottles of wine sticking out. See, I can't even point to it. It's sticking out of my little like alcohol thing. All right. There you go. That should kind of explain it. All right, a little sidetrack here. All right, where are we with questions? Man. Litecoin reaction. Guys, honestly, I haven't been paying attention to the Litecoin reaction. I'm assuming the Litecoin reaction. I have not looked at Litecoin at all. Here's my assumption of the Litecoin reaction. This was my assumption a week ago. This was my assumption 2 weeks ago. My private clients that call me up for consulting, that called me specifically about Litecoin weeks ago, this is what I told them. And I have to assume I was right without even looking at Litecoin. Litecoin would be a hedge. It will fluctuate against Bitcoin like crazy, but against dollars, it's going to be a lot more steady. I hope that's how it worked out. I have not looked at it. That's what I said a month ago. That's what I said 2 weeks ago. That's what I said a week ago. And that's what I'm still saying. Okay, next. I can't call the date the price will bottom, guys. I have no idea. I'm not a prophet. If I keep my Bitcoin on my Celium, will they support it? I don't really use my Celium wallet anymore, but my Celium are big supporters. 148, right? You can see it right here. My Celium. Oh, no, I'm not sharing screen. Okay. Let me share a screen real quick. Okay, look. Here's a mycelium dev. Okay. And this mycelium dev is preferring BIP 148, and he couldn't care less about SegWit2x. So I know this guy doesn't speak for the company itself, but I'm pretty sure that mycelium will be ready and that your coin should be safe on mycelium. All right, let's get back. How many DGB do you own? I don't know what DGB is. It's either Dogecoin or Digibyte, or I don't know. If I don't know what it is, I obviously don't own any. All right, next. Someone is telling me that Charlie Shrem is a SegWit2x supporter. You know what? I'm not surprised. Maybe if Charlie Shrem reached out to me, I would, explain to him how stupid SegWit2x is. I think he listened to me on Bitcoin Unlimited versus SegWit. If he reaches out, I'll be more than happy to spend some time with him. All right, next. I don't have time to read. I don't have time to. I don't have time to explain reality to people. I really don't. I barely have time for people that reach out to me. All right, next. What is BitMain worried about losing? ASIC boost or fees? Probably both at the same time. Guys, I'm not going to answer why I don't care about Ethereum. I called it a scam before the pre-sale when I could have bought it for 20 cents a coin. I'm not going to change my mind now. Nothing has changed. It's only gotten worse. All right, next. Do I think Bitcoin is spreading FUD to buy to buy cheap coins? Guys, I can't speculate on that. I mean, that's I can only analyze. I can't like speculate on people's. That's way too speculative for me. I'm not going there, right? It was very obvious to me that the darknet markets bought a bunch of Monero before announcing that they're going to start accepting Monero in their platforms. That was insanely obvious. I did not even need to fact check that. That was proven like multiple days or multiple months later. But I was very comfortable saying that because it was grossly obvious. Did they short Bitcoin? Did they sell Bitcoin before their announcement? I have no idea. And that's going to be impossible to prove, so I don't even bother thinking about it. Right? It's irrelevant to me. All right. What's my favorite episode of Star Trek? I've never watched Star Trek. As far as the 3 movies are concerned, I thought the first one was the best of the 3 recent movies that come out. That's all I've pretty much seen. I've never even seen like the original Star Trek movies, and I've probably seen maybe a dozen Star Trek episodes in my life. I was never a Star Trek fan. All right, next. NASDAQ charts look like Bitcoin. NASDAQ charts look like Bitcoin charts at the moment. Top 100 tech stocks down. Is it correlated to Bitcoin? I don't think so. Next, how many? I'm not reading that. I don't mind trolls. I'm just not going to entertain. I think I already answered the whiskey question. Answered the mycelium question. This is weird. Maybe people are repeating questions, or God knows where in the chat. Looking for more questions, guys. What are the odds that we still have 1 Bitcoin come September? Well, that's a harder one. The odds that we have only 1 Bitcoin come September is probably about 60%. The odds that we have 1 Bitcoin come January is more like 95%. I hope that helps. All right, more questions. I see. It's a good question, but I know it comes from a troll, so I'm debating whether I want to entertain the question. Here's the question. Hi, Tone. I'm a male escort and want to know which crypto I should accept as payment. Well, if you're a very good male escort and you get paid a pretty good rate, kind of like the Tone-based consulting service rate, go ahead and you can take that salary in a Bitcoin. If you're an undesirable male escort that has to charge very, very little to get business, Litecoin might be a better alternative. Someone says, Tone, I like you, but no one should say 110%. It's a figure of speech. All right, let's see more questions. Is this video on for 2 hours yet? I'm going to cut it at 2 hours. I'm not going to go past 4 p.m. Eastern, guys. If Bitcoin price, I still have over 630 viewers. I broke 700 at one point. That was amazing. All right, let's see where we are with questions. Oh boy. Oh boy. Chat just went nuts. Let me find my place. Oh man. Shoot. So I think the chat scrolled further down than I was. So I probably lost some questions in between. So I'm just gonna go with whatever questions I see, guys. So sorry, I don't have Rich around today to help me filter questions. Do you think there is a future there will be countries that are Bitcoin safe havens? For example, Switzerland, definitely not Switzerland, where there are 100% Bitcoin friendly. Will this sustain the price of US and the EU bans? It's possible that there will be these countries, but these have to be countries that really don't care about the US and EU policies and can handle not following US and EU rules. And unfortunately, I don't have any confidence that Switzerland is one of these countries. I mean, they were a long time ago, but they're not anymore. Hong Kong is sooner or later will be under the control of China, as much as they don't like it. I hope they're not, but we're going there. Singapore is a little too controlling. So I don't know. I don't know of a good example right now that would be perfectly Bitcoin friendly. Maybe like a South American country that wants to get its shit together. I don't know. I don't know. You know, maybe like a country like Panama, even though that canal is like too many interests involved in that. Like, it's hard. You'll need something small, you know. Belize also, you know, listens to the U.S. government a little too much. Like it's hard. It'll be hard to find one of these countries. Maybe Estonia, but for some stupid reason they've entered the European Union. So again, they're set up, but that's not happening. Like maybe after the European Union breaks up, Estonia will be in the best position to do something like this. Maybe Luxembourg as well. But as long as the European Union's together, I mean, like no country associated with the European Union would even dare to do something like that. Same thing with the Soviet bloc countries. You know, the only thing Australia cares about is taxes, so that's not happening. Well, like it's almost impossible to find a country that's going to be 100% Bitcoin friendly. Japan, I don't think so. Like it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible, right? You know, as crazy as this sounds, right? Times the countries that are a complete shit show eventually flip the other way, right? Everything is a pendulum. Things that I learned from Martin Armstrong, right? Everything's a pendulum. When a pendulum swings too much to one side, it then swings all the way around to the other side, right? So let's take a look at a country where the pendulum has swung so far to crazy that if it starts swinging the other way, they may swing all the way to the other side being perfect capitalism and Bitcoin friendly. And the country at the top of this list where the pendulum is as high on stupid as it can get is North Korea, okay? So as crazy as it sounds, in 30 to 40 years, the country most likely to be friendliest to Bitcoin is actually North Korea, because their pendulum has swung way too far. Now, it's not often that pendulum goes all the way around. Like Russia couldn't do it when they got rid of communism, but China is doing it, right? Like China got out of their communist situation, which was significantly worse than Russia's communist situation. And China is, look, they're not fully capitalist yet, but pendulum swinging. Maybe the China pendulum will swing all the way, and China will become Bitcoin friendly. So China has probably the closest chance, and it may start in Hong Kong, it may start in Taiwan, it's probably not going to start in Macau, but it could. So it could, or Shenzhen, it could start in like these China freer economic zones, and then China itself. So that has the biggest probability, but the pendulum that is most unstupid is North Korea. And if that pendulum starts to swing all the way to the other side, I would love to see that transformation. Okay. Yeah, I know I'm crazy. I get that a lot. But that's you ask an interesting question, you get an interesting answer. All right, let's move on. Is buying gold with Bitcoin a good way to avoid the tax man? It's no different than selling it for cash. I don't know, like, how are you going to buy your gold? You're going to walk into a gold store and hope they accept Bitcoin? Are you going to use Vaulturo? I don't know what Vaulturo's policy is. Does Vaulturo report your exchange to the government of your jurisdiction? I don't know. You have to check Vaulturo's policy and their website. All right, next. No, I don't smoke weed, guys. I maybe I should, but I don't. I don't do any drugs. Alcohol is the only alcohol, and an occasional cigar is as close as I get. And by alcohol, I never actually get drunk. I always drink to make sure that I'm still able to drive. So I'll have, I'll stick to my limit of 1 to 2 drinks an hour, usually. Occasionally, if I'm home and I'm doing one of these videos, like what happened on Bitcoin Uncensored, I'm like, oh, I'll just make 1 drink for this, video for a couple of hours, and then the video goes on for 5 hours, and I keep refilling my drink. Yeah, like drinking alcohol is as far as it gets. And I think the last time I threw up from alcohol was probably like 5 to 10 years ago. Like it's a long time ago. Like I never ever drink to the point of being incoherent. That doesn't happen. So yeah, that's as close as I get to drugs. I have not paid attention to the USA bill in addressing digital currencies. I have not had time, unfortunately. All right, next. Is it possible that hedge funds or institution algos are in control of crypto now? No, I don't think so. I mean, none of these exchanges are sophisticated enough to handle Wall Street algos. That's just crazy talk. All right, next. Reading some of your comments as I look for questions. Thanks, Gypsy Tree. That was funny. All right, let's see. What are your guys? Stop asking about Ethereum. If I wanted to talk about Ethereum, I would have talked about Ethereum. It's a scam. I've said this so many times. Why has Andreas Antonopoulos not come down on the user-activated soft fork yet? Good question. Good. How about you guys text Andreas and ask him, okay? I was very happy with Andreas's views on the ICOs. He had an amazing 10, 15-minute video on his thoughts on ICOs. That's great. I said this 2 years ago when Ethereum was doing their ICO. So look, Andreas, you're great. I really like you. You're an amazing speaker. I love being at conferences with you. I really like talking to you. It's great. But you gotta make up your mind earlier. You gotta jump in front of this stuff, okay? You have to. Look, you realize the mistake of investing in the DAO, and you have said that, right? And perhaps your unofficial endorsement of the DAO has made you a little hesitant on speaking out for or against projects too early. But there is too early, there's early, and there's late. And lately, your opinions and views have been awesome and perfect, but they've been late. You look, it's okay to be wrong. Just be wrong. Like, we're wrong all the time. Look, I've been wrong about Ethereum, okay? It's still a scam, but I've definitely been wrong about the price and where it can go. I fess up to it. I deal with it every day. People tweet at me every day. So yeah, no, I'm disappointed that Andreas has not made any public statements on this scaling situation. And it's okay for him to stay neutral. That's his decision. I am personally disappointed. Now, if Andreas has made his views clear, then I apologize, but I don't know what those views are. Okay, so that's kind of my opinion. I don't like talking about other people, but if you ask me my opinion of the situation, that's my opinion. Okay. I don't have a favorite cannabis strain because I don't smoke. Can't help you guys. So I make my chart on TradingView. It's free software. If you want to save more than 5 charts, you'll have to pay for it. And it's not that expensive. Tone, from an unbiased standpoint, is BitMain being completely greedy, and that's why they don't support SegWit first, or does SegWit make them completely irrelevant? I can't answer this from an unbiased standpoint. I am answering it from a biased standpoint, and my biased standpoint tells me that it's a combination of many things. One of them, SegWit is probably interfering with their profits of big fees and ASIC boost. Okay, second, BitMain has been embarrassed to no end by the core devs and Blockstream, and they, they have to save face, so they will fight against it till the bitter end. Okay, maybe they're believers in this. Some people are suspecting they're involved with the Chinese government. I'm not spreading that rumor, but whatever you believe, okay. And these are biased opinions. They're not unbiased. Okay. No, I didn't read the latest US bill. No, I don't care about Ethereum. Will Monero overtake Ethereum? I don't care about Monero right now either, guys. I never said Litecoin was a scam. That's an error. I never called Litecoin a scam. You can go back to my crypto scam Litecoin episode. I never actually called it a scam. To Litecoin, I called it. I didn't think it had promise. I didn't think it had longevity. But Litecoin, Luke Dash Jr. was calling it a scam for a while. Other people are calling it a scam. I've never actually called Litecoin a scam. I've never called Monero a scam. I was somewhat familiar with the origins of these coins and the current development of these coins and the current promotion or lack thereof of promotion of these coins. And that does not fit my scam category. Like, Rootstock is not a scam to me. Whether Rootstock is a good project or a viable project or a technologically sustained project is totally debatable. But now if Rootstock decides to go ICO, they'll probably fall into my scam bucket. But right now, Rootstock is not in my scam bucket. Neither is Litecoin, because it had a fair launch, it had a fair distribution, it had honest developers. Same thing with Monero. It had a little bit of a hiccup at launch, but they actually solved it, unlike Dash, who doubled down on the scamminess of the launch. So no, so I never actually called Litecoin a scam. And if someone can prove that I did, I would love to see it, and I will retract it. But good luck finding any evidence of me calling Litecoin a scam. I don't expect you to find it. Someone is commenting not to hold Bitcoin on mycelium through August 1st. I would love to know more details on that. I will not personally be holding any Bitcoin on mycelium because I don't have any Bitcoin in mycelium. I used to use that wallet as my primary wallet. I'm currently using Airbits as my primary phone wallet, connected to a user-activated soft fork BIP 148 node. But I will be securing my Bitcoin on hardware wallets. Right now, I'm looking into the Trezor and deciding whether that's where I want them to go, or I'll put them on Bitcoin Core. I mean, I trust Bitcoin Core. Maybe I'll just put it onto my node, or I'll create a second node for the storage of my Bitcoin. All right, next. Big Swear. I don't care what Big Swear has to say about Bitcoin. I don't find him to be I don't consider him an expert on Bitcoin in any way, shape, or form. All right, next. I'm not even going to finish reading the rest of that question. Would I buy an Ant miner? No. I bought an Avalon miner from Canon and waiting for it in the mail. What happens if Bitcoin doesn't get neither SegWit or big blocks? I don't know, $100 fees, people using Litecoin for transactions, using Bitcoin for storage, a million trolls telling you how much their coin is better. The worst case scenario is our core developers leave because 2 to 3 years of work has gone down the drain. So what the hell are they there? What are they innovating? I don't know. I don't want to think about that yet. Well, user-activated soft fork. Let's get SegWit. Have I heard of? No, guys. What on earth makes you think that I'm going to entertain anything that has to do with Ethereum? I don't talk about Ethereum on this channel. No, go to an Ethereum pumper and like their show. Guys, I can't speculate. Like, if you're 25 years old and you have X number of Bitcoins, like, how do you want me to speculate how much you'll have when you're 80? That's silly. Come on, stop. Buying gold, I already addressed. What do you think is the reason that 3 core developers are not supporting BIP 148? It's kind of strange. No, not really. I mean, there were more. I mean, BIP 148 is, BIP 148 is not obvious. I mean, they're all supporting SegWit, but they're not happy with the way BIP 148 is pushing SegWit in. And it is a little hostile to the big blockers. And I understand that. And some of the developers think that it's a little too hostile and too antagonizing. And you saw the end result with BitMain replying in the way they did, crashing the price by $700 a coin. And some of the developers didn't want that for Bitcoin, so they were, so they didn't agree, or they don't really want this user-activated soft fork, right? Because this hurts them as well, and it has potential of splitting Bitcoin into 2, and that's why they weren't in support and still aren't in support. Um, all right, I know I still have a million questions. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are not investing in Ethereum. That's just crazy talk. If they are, maybe they feel like losing money. I don't know. Guys, if you think Bill Gates or Warren Buffett know anything about Bitcoin or Ethereum, you're the crazy one. Where can I find my article about the August 11th date? It's in the description of the video, guys. It's all there. Just pull down the description of the video. Everything is there, okay? My article from 2014 about something major happening in Bitcoin, August 11th, 2017, was published in Cointelegraph. There is a link to it. It's called Bitcoin Analysis, Intro to Time, where I did a time analysis, and the date that I came up with was August 11th, 2017. I thought it was August 14th, but you know, when you don't round the numbers, it comes to August 11th. Okay. It's in my description. Guys, I can't answer what other people are thinking. I have no idea. Any thoughts on the flippening? No, no thoughts on the flippening. All right, guys. I think like a lot of these questions are repeating. I don't know what Google is doing here. Anyway, I still have 600 viewers. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to leave it at this. Let me check what the price is. If anything critical happened while I was doing Q&A, I will let you know. Let me just take a look at the price real quick. Looks like we're still going up. Like I said earlier in this video, I'm looking for a price rise by looking at the Bitfinex chart. I'm looking for it to go back to around 2450. After that, I'm expecting some more downside. Hopefully that downside does not happen. I want to be wrong. If second best scenario, the downside, it does not take us back to the morning lows. And the worst case scenario, of course, we go back to the lows and go lower. Please reach out to your economic nodes. Please reach out to your mining pools. Get them onto BIP 148. Let's get SegWit in. And if it's not obvious to you that BitMain is bad for the price of Bitcoin, I can't help you at this point, right? The confidence in SegWit in our core devs should bring the price all the way back up. That's my personal opinion. That's independent of the charts. Right now, the charts, the weekly charts are still bullish. The daily chart has bounced off of a reasonable support, and the hourly chart remains bearish. Okay, so let's see how this ends. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. This was a longer episode than usual. I do have a donation address in Bitcoin. If you're feeling generous, please donate Bitcoin. If you're not feeling generous, but you still want to throw in a little tip, please use Litecoin because Bitcoin is a little bit of an issue these days with high fees and too many transactions. But of course, you don't have to donate. I will continue doing these channels. If you do want to talk to me privately, my rate is 0.1 Bitcoins per hour. I do my best not to give buy and sell advice. I end up giving it, and I always feel reluctant for doing so. So I may do that a lot less. But if you want to talk charting, you want me to help you chart your altcoin, whether it's Ethereum, whether it's whatever, right? I mean, you're the client, you're the customer. You want to call me and talk to me about Ethereum for 3 hours? Fine. You want to call me and talk to me about Dash for 3 hours? That's fine too. People have done that, by the way. All right. So it's all up to you. please reach out. My email is in the description. Please open the description. There is lots of valuable links in there. And thank you very much for tuning in. And I'll see you all in the next one.